Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Binkabi and this will be a Tiny Leaders match from our local game store. It's between me on the left playing Tetsuo Umezawa versus my friend August who's playing Anax and Cymede. So this is basically a friendly match, but I wanted to try out Tetsuo as soon as I could since it's quite rare and pretty expensive. So I asked August if he could bring a deck, and I got to choose what he was going to play. So I chose his Boros deck because I think it would present the greatest challenge. So here we go. August has a pretty fast start with Figure of Destiny, and I kept a rather slow hand. I don't like to do mulligans just because I know what my opponent is playing. It was a reasonable keep against most decks besides the very aggressive ones, so I think it was alright. Figure, of course, is not the most aggressive draw the Boros deck can present, but it's still a 2-2 that attacks on turn 2. It's pretty good. My deck is obviously designed to handle creature-based decks, so overall I feel pretty confident. But you never know. I mean, if that figure gets to hit a few more times, then it could be problematic. Also, it's since some decks utilize their tiny leader a lot more than others. In an aggressive deck, having a guaranteed drop on one of 1, 2 or 3 is pretty crucial. I mean, I would say that his commander does a lot more work than I do. Since he didn't pump his figure, I just ignored it, and I assumed he would play something like a mentor or his commander. So I was saving the smother for that, and had to sacrifice some life to do it. So I'm not really on the board yet, and I can feel the pressure. I just want to do something, but unfortunately all I can do is a compulsive research. Fantastic card, of course, but not really what you want to do before stabilizing. But yeah. So the decision here is, should I throw a basic or a fetch land or a land that pains me with life? I decided to go ahead and toss the swamp because I don't actually need it for anything. My mana base is actually pretty good in this deck for a 3-colored one. It got all the duels, both the original and the shock duels, as well as some fetches and stuff. The only land that doesn't involve tapping from colored mana is Wasteland. So now he goes ahead and pumps, which I'm pretty pleased with because I have Snapcaster ready to go. And I think it's worth doing it on my turn, since white historically is good at protecting their creatures with God's Willing or Feet of Resistance or what have you. So away goes the figure, and now I'm feeling pretty good. I've lost a few life, but I have a blocker, I have decent mana. The one thing that is worrying me is that my hand is pretty weak. It's mostly lands. And Monastery Mentor does not make that any easier, especially not since 2 mana is still open. So I assume that my opponent has a protection spell of some sort here, but you can never know. So my plan here was to try to bait out something, and that's why I played my Wasteland. If he has a protection spell that costs 2, either he has to use it now, or he will have to gamble on that I don't have a removal spell. And even if he goes for any kind of protection, I can still blow him out with an instant removal spell. Currently I don't have either, so I'm very happy if a spell gets played here no matter what. And as you can see, it's a pretty tough decision. I think it's correct to go for it, just because you get a token out of the deal as well. Which I still think is fine, and if the protection spell resolves, then you can be pretty confident that your creature will survive. So 2 mana and a protection spell. I think it's bathed in light. So it gives all the white creatures protection from black, which is fine. I mean, as I said, I didn't have anything, so I think it was a pretty good deal for me. Wasteland taking care of one of the dual lands and a pretty relevant card in my opponent's hand here. So I'm just playing Jace and Young Pyromancer, which I think is fine. Since I don't have any spells, I just have lands in my hand now. I'm pretty much depending on that Jace survives, because without it I'm not going to win this game. I'm losing on board and I don't have anything else to back my squad up with, so... So, an attack, which is okay. I'm gonna block the token, and the reason is, now if my opponent has like a lightning bolt or a lightning helix or something like that, he don't get extra value. If I block the mentor, any spell makes it so that the mentor eats my Snapcaster, and now it's at least a trade. Even though I will take more damage, but you have to pay with some form of resource, and I'd rather pay with some life points than with my creatures. So I think my hand right now is 3 lands, which is pretty bad. But since Jace is not dead yet, it's pretty likely that he will survive. One can at least hope. And with Snapcaster in the graveyard, that's also a reason why I wanted to block. I also will get to flip Jace. It's not always what you want, but in this instance it is, because now I can flashback a compulsive research if I need to, or I can just nullify a mentor, for example. So Jace is flipping, pretty nice. And really, any spell right now is just so good for me. Getting blockers, doing something, feeds Jace for potential flashbacks. So I'm gonna go ahead and plus Jace, making the monster mentor an 0-2 until my next turn. Then I'm gonna scry, and the top card of my library was a Brainstorm, which I'm pretty happy with, because I also have a fetch land in hand. So my hand right now is lands and I think a Kolaghan's Command. So end of turn here, we have something from my opponent, and he will actually make Jace unexpectedly absent, which is pretty annoying, because I really wanted to draw that Brainstorm. So now I will get to draw Jace again, and sure, that's fine, but I'm getting pretty heavily pressured, so I needed something. So here I take my opportunity to fire off Kolaghan's Command to kill Kiln Fiend and make my opponent discard his last card. And really, I could have killed Monster Mentor instead, which may or may not have been the correct choice, but Kiln Fiend is worth so much damage right off the bat that I think this is actually fine. And unfortunately I don't have any Young Pyromancer tokens, so I will have to use regular sleeves, so the black ones are elemental tokens. So Kiln Fiend down, my opponent discarded his last card, which was Spore Charm, and now I gotta hope that my opponent doesn't peel anything too exciting, because if he does, then my lands and off the top Jace will be pretty bad. And as you probably might have seen, August did draw a pretty good one. Probably the second best card that I can think of that he could have drawn. A Sword of Fire and Ice would probably have been slightly better, but Ajani is pretty strong here. Triggers prowess, gives out counters, he can still activate Slayer's Stronghold. Overall, that's pretty. It's a pretty good one to hit off the top, especially since I know that I already know what my next turn will be. It will be Jace, Umezawa, fetch land, go, and there's nothing that will change my plan. So I can just hope that that I will survive, but we will see. We also have a spectator here, very eagerly discussing things, but I advise you to not do that if you're seeing someone playing under the camera. First of all, because it could be annoying, and second of all, if you just went by, you probably don't have all the information. So this was I think it was a question about a potential +1/+1 counter, but August hadn't activated the Ajanian, so yeah, that's quite annoying. So Slave Stronghold activates on the fresh token, and that makes the attacking squad pretty huge. And if my opponent had swinged with everything, I would just have traded for the 3/1 token and saved my Young Pyromancer. But since he left Mentor back, I don't think that's correct anymore. I just think I need to preserve my life total, so I'm gonna block the 2/2 token with Pyromancer and the 3/1 token with my Elemental. I would like to attack Ajani, but I'm not in that position right now, especially since I know that next turn will be a setup turn for me, and it's the turn after that I have to make magic happen somehow. So Umezawa enters the battlefield, and Jace. Yeah, I'm not pausing for the Jace, I'm pausing for what land I'm going to play. Because I don't want to fetch with this end of turn, since I know I have a brainstorm coming, because my last 2 cards in hands are still lands and I don't want them. So now I'm praying for a brick, like a land or something not spectacular, since I'm heavily pressured here. I'm really on the edge of losing here. It doesn't have to be that much. So Slay Stronghold will be activated on the Mentor, which is annoying because Umezawa doesn't kill untapped things. And also Ajani goes down, which gives Mentor flying and double strike, so I can't block it anymore. So right now it's hitting for 10 damage, and if August has found a lightning bolt or a lightning helix or any 3-point burn spell, I'm dead. So after the attackers, and I've declared no blockers because I can't. August reveals that the card that he has drawn is in fact pretty good. It's a Swords to Plowshares, and he goes for my commander here, which it's fine. The reasoning here is that if he doesn't kill it, I will get to smack Ajani with it, so potentially at least. But I take a severe hit here and goes down to 6 life, I believe. And now I know my what I need to draw here. I mean, I know I have a Brainstorm on top. I know I'll get to draw 3 cards of it if I want to. And I have a Call-Against Command in the graveyard that the ace can help me with. So it's more or less the sequencing here that matters. And overall, I think the first thing you should do is start with the ace. It gets you to see 1 extra card and makes it easier to decide what you want to do. And I'm also thinking about, the line I'm thinking about is flashbacking Call-Against Command, killing the token, and bring Snapcaster or Young Pyromancer back to my hand, and then play Liliana of the Veil and make my opponent sacrifice a creature. And that is a decent line, but it leaves me extremely vulnerable to a top deck creature of any kind, since it gets haste with Slayer Stronghold and then a counter from Ajani, which could actually kill me. So I would like to try to do something else if possible, and since I have a Brainstorm in hand, I might as well play that before I'm doing anything else, since I still have enough mana to do that first line. What I would like to do is play Young Pyromancer before doing anything, but that requires me to hit a cheap removal spell. Which I do. I find lands and Lightning Bolt. So it's more or less a question of which lands I would like to keep. So lands go back, don't want them. And I actually have exactly enough mana to do the line that I wanted to do more than anything, which is play Call-Against Command, Young Pyromancer, and kill the Mentor. There is also pretty tough decision of what to kill with the Call-Against Command. I could kill Ajani or I could kill the token, and both seems good to me, but ultimately I go for the token, and this way my opponent has to draw a creature to actually do something. If I kill Ajani and Mentor, he still has a creature, and like a protection spell or something could actually finish me off, and I don't like that. So Call-Against Command kills token, brings back Pyromancer, and now I can fetch away the stupid lands and go grab a basic or a dual, whichever I think is good. I'm a bit worried about Price of Progress, but I'm still dead to it no matter what, so just gonna go grab Underground Sea. No point in letting the mana base suffer. Then we can just deploy Pyromancer and play a Lightning Bolt. And that leaves us pretty even. Now I think I'm in pretty good shape, since I have blockers, and I have a Jace going, and I have a Liliana in hand. So any one threat wouldn't be that bad for me. So it's commander time again, which I'm fine with. And then will go up to put a counter on Anax and Cymede. Pretty good card overall. And I believe August actually found another spell. No? Okay. Maybe, maybe not. So this I like, because now I get to untap. And with Liliana and Jace, that's a pretty good combination of stuff. I also get to kill Ajani if August doesn't have anything, so that's good. So Planeswalker power. And in for Ajani. And he's dead too. And up goes Jace without a target, so now I've stabilized, but I'm not at a very high life total. Which is obviously the problem. I'm feeling the pressure of getting something done. And down comes Goblin Assault, and that's very annoying, since it will produce an attacker every turn and my blockers only have 1 toughness. So I'm gonna force discards here because I think I drew a Bitter Blossom, and Bitter Blossom at 5 life is not great. Let's just say that. So Artful Maneuver, I think it's called, is discarded from August, and I discard Bitter Blossom. But I have drawn a good card. True Name Nemesis is basically moat with power, which I like. This can just go up and I can keep attacking with Token and Pyromancer, and it's still true that I die from basically a protection spell and Slay Stronghold. I'm not dead, but I go to like 1 life or something, and I'm dead to a lot of things then. But the Goblin Assault is nullified by True Name Nemesis, which is good. I have Liliana and Jace going, which is also good, and a young Pyromancer to boot. And we just shortcut this a few times, I think, during the course of the match, since I'm going to block all the time with True Name Nemesis. And I get the pass, which is a bit strange. I mean, if you haven't drawn anything, of course, but I'm gonna force this card and I'm gonna get a Lightning Helix to the face, so I go to 2. I'm gonna discard Toxic Deluge, which I'm not gonna use. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Compulsive Research flashback with Jace, because I still feel the need of finding stuff to do. And I find a Counterspell, Mountain, and I think it was a Vendilion Click. So I can just discard Mountain. And I forget to put Compulsive Research in the exile pile, but I think I notice it a few turns later, maybe. We will see. So in for 3. Not much, not the fastest clock, but I just don't dare to attack with True Name Nemesis as well. And August has found Abbott. Pretty good one. And finally hits a land, which I'm happy to see, but of course I would have been happier if that was the draw for the turn, and not that way around, but as long as it's not a burn spell, I'm pretty happy. But now I have Counterspell, so it's not horrendous. I could have flashed in Vendilion Click, but that leaves me dead if he has drawn a Lightning Bolt or something, and I don't want that. And since I have specifically a Counterspell in hand, I don't want to plus Liliana really. And now I've got a target for the minus ability, so it seems kind of fitting. So in for 4 with the clowns. And I'm actually gonna play the temple here and leave a card on top, and I believe that was a Vampire Nighthawk. Not the most usual card to have in the main deck, but I feel like the deck actually needs it a lot. It's the only way to gain life, and it's a fantastic blocker and can deal with cards that normal removal can't, like hexproof guys and stuff. Kythian comes off the top. I do want to counter that, but I don't think I can. And that's obviously a mistake as well. I think, because he will get gain haste, and since I don't have any other blockers, I would either take 1 going to 1 or die, so I don't like that. So I have to do the fantastic play of flashing in Vendilion Click and block, and it's not really what I was looking for. But if you forget Slay Stronghold, you will get punished pretty severely. So block with True Name and Vendilion Click. Kythian will gain indestructible, and I take no damage. I'm still feeling pretty good here. I mean, I could discard my counterspell to Liliana to get her up to 2 again, but I'm just not going to bother. Jace nullifies Kythian pretty effectively, so that's good. So I believe I just leave Liliana on 1 for now. And since August doesn't have mana up for indestructible anymore, it's a pretty safe attack. All I'm thinking about is how many blockers I should leave, because now I have Slay Stronghold on my radar again. So I'm gonna leave 2 blockers back, just in case. I could probably have attacked with True Name this turn specifically, because I was planning to block with Nighthawk, and that the only reason why I would do that is because I want to gain the 2 life. I don't want Nighthawk to just die, but I think it's better to trade Nighthawk for 2 life now when I get a chance than waiting and try to attack with it and stuff, because that I don't think that would work out. Yeah, so the Goblin comes in and I block with Nighthawk and gain 2. I didn't notice that August played this Sacred Foundry. I didn't register it, so of course in retrospect I shouldn't have blocked with Nighthawk and just started to attack, but that's hard. So now I'm gonna do the fantastic play of discarding while my opponent has no cards in hand, but I wanted to get Liliana up to 2. Same attack, but this time Kythian can block because it can gain indestructible. It doesn't play around a spot removal, but it's kinda obvious that I don't have one, so. And I actually have enough mana to play my commander again, and that's just extra insurance. I mean, 1 extra blocker, got decent stats and a relevant ability. So now at 4 life with a good amount of blockers and 2 planeswalkers going, as well as counterspell in hand, I'm actually feeling pretty confident. I couldn't think of any other burn spell that would deal 4 damage besides Boros Charm, and that was gone. So the Goblin runs into True Name, and August has bricked, drawn a Battlefield Forge, which is good for me. I drew Jace Beleren, and that's not really a good one right now, but so I have Lightning Bolt in the graveyard that I'm thinking about, because I am wearing down my opponent's life pretty fast. So let's send with the clowns for 6 damage. And I was prepared to sacrifice Liliana there. I think it was correct. So Goblin Token comes in. It runs into True Name again. Grim Lavamancer and I believe Commander time. Yeah. So I was thinking about if I should counter anything, but it turns out that if I swing with everything, I will just kill my opponent with the lightning bolt in the graveyard. So in with the team. August is consider how to block. Yeah, commander for commander. Unfortunately mine will lose a hand-to-hand combat, but August figures out that it might be something in my graveyard and pulls a lightning bolt to the front, and yeah, that's all she wrote. So August will concede a match and we'll go to the second one. Time for the second game then, between myself playing Tetsuo Umezawa and my friend August playing Anax and Cymede. So a grindy game won, but the good guys triumphed. Or I mean I won. The good guys actually didn't triumph. So I'm pretty pleased with my opener. It has the Pyromancer, which is pretty good. A Preordain to set things up, and I believe it was some kind of sweeper in there. I can actually go up to a lot of sweepers post board just because of the raw power. I have like Anger of the Gods, Black Sun Zenith, Toxic Deluge and Bonfire of the Damned. So they're all pretty good. August starts with a Temple, and that tells me that he either kept a Landlight hand or a very powerful hand. Otherwise he would definitely play something turn 1. So Preordain for me finds 2 lands, and I've already drawn my third, but I think it's okay to keep 1. It's more cycling at this point than actual scrying, but I just want to make sure that I can hit the first few land drops. So in comes Swift Spear for 1, and the follow-up is also a Mother of Runes, and this confirms that it most likely was a Landlight hand. I'm a bit sad about this because I have a Chainer's Edict, I believe, in hand, and I was hoping that Mother of Runes would be the only card coming down this turn, so that I could Chainer's Edict it. But since I have another answer to it, I might as well just run the Chainer's Edict out. And as I cast it, we discussed it a bit, and I think the correct line is actually to sacrifice Mother of Runes, because you need the potent threat, not the protection spell at this point. I mean, if she doesn't have anything to protect, then she's not doing anything. So Mother of Runes, in my opinion, gets correctly sacked, which is sad, of course. I would rather have seen it in play, now in retrospect, of course. But I think I'm doing alright. I'm feeling pretty confident that my Black Sun Zenith will do good work. As long as my opponent doesn't play huge guys, I'm fine. Many guys is fine, and small like Grim Lavamancer is completely fine. And the suspicion on a Landlight hand is revealed here since August misses his land drop. I have a lot of options this turn. I could either play compulsive research, or I could play like a tapped land and young pyromancer. But I don't think it's correct. I was going to do that and trade it for any removal spell. That would have been fine, but not when Grim Lavamancer is in play. That would mean like that my opponent could burn me for like 3 or 4 damage, attack for 2, and use Grim Lavamancer. That's just too efficient of a turn. That could still happen here, of course, but now I have a much better line next turn where I can play Young Pyromancer and keep an instant up or something like that. And since I still have Black Sun Zenith, I just want my opponent to play more threats. And August does, but he's not the threat I want him to play. He's a 3 toughness guy, and I wanted it to be 2 toughness. I was hoping for the commander, actually. But it's fine. Here I'm also electing to play Young Pyromancer, and I think that's a good line. Yes, I have to throw away a good threat, but I just need my opponent to do stuff so my Black Sun Zenith can clear the board. But I also have Brainstorm, and maybe I shouldn't have fetched, because my hand was so good that I actually wanted to keep all the cards. I had a lot of 3-drops, so I still wanted a couple of lands. So I could see that I messed up this Brainstorm, maybe. But I have not cast it yet, so we will see. Of course, August has a lot of options here, and it turns out that the play that I was worried about last turn actually was available to him. He had a Lightning Helix and he could have used the Lavamancer. And I'm a bit puzzled why the Lightning Helix went to my face, but then I realized that, yeah, now he has 2 cards in the graveyard and actually does 1 more damage this way. So in response to the Lavamancer shooting my Pyromancer, I'm gonna make a token, and it's not like the token will go all the distance. I just wanted to get 1 extra blocker this turn, more or less, so my Black Sun Zenith could sweep up the board next turn. So I elect to shuffle away 2 lands, leaving only the 5th one left in my hand, and I'm not certain that's the correct way, since I'm pretty dependent on hitting that 6th land. So however, it doesn't matter how I block. I will take 3 damage no matter what. So I blocked the Boros Reckoner just to see if my opponent recognizes the ping, but he does, so there's that. So I go ahead and fetch here, and I could also have not fetched end of turn. I wanted to save some life, and I'm actually gonna fetch another black source, because right now I have 2, but if a Tectonic Edge or something happens, then I go down to 1, and that's a lot worse than not having double red, for example. So this turn is already scripted. I know what I'm going to do. And I drew Anger of the Gods, which may or may not should have been played here, since if I don't hit a 6th land, Black Sun Zenith can only be for 2, and that's why I elected to play it. I also elected to play it because I didn't have anything for 2 to play, so I might as well. So Black Sun clears the board. Abbott comes in and finds a Figure of Destiny, and this is also something you have to think about when you're playing. I have Anger of the Gods, so I don't care really if he plays two things, but I'd rather Mental Misstep this to force August to play yet another thing next turn. Otherwise that squad is more than enough to finish me off. So I was more than happy that this turned out the way it did. And as it turns out, I drew Bonfire, and I didn't have to miracle it, but since my other option was to wait on the Anger of the Gods, I just think this works out better. Of course, had I known that I was going to draw Bonfire, I would not have mental misstepped the figure, but you can't know that. So Mentor comes in, which is fine by me. I would have liked to kill it with something different, but I didn't have access to it. Now I drew a Lightning Bolt, which is pretty good. So I just get to deploy my Nighthawk, and yeah, my hopes and dreams are that my opponent will just throw something at it, because I don't care if it dies, really. When I thought about it more, I should probably have just went for the Lightning Bolt on the Mentor before playing the Nighthawk and not giving him the option of killing it. But since I was pretty set on playing the Anger next turn anyway to clear the path for my Planeswalkers, it felt okay to do this and saving myself a couple of life. So Commander time, which is not good for me, but it's okay. A land off the top would be sweet, and I did actually find one. I'm playing 20, so it's kind of a high chance. So I get to sweep the board again. Not that it's that valuable here, but a token and a commander is pretty good. And then I have to decide which Planeswalker to play. I could play Jace and draw a card, or I could play Ashok and start pressuring my opponent with his own creatures, potentially. And ultimately I went with Ashok because of its loyalty. Its loyalty is so high that it will likely survive like a Chain Lightning or whatever, whereas Jace would die. And I'd rather have a trick on or a Planeswalker in play than not. So I hit a young Pyromancer and a Precinct Captain, which is pretty good. Especially the Pyromancer is appealing since, well, I'm playing one myself and they're pretty good. So I'm starting to get a grip of this game. Student of Warfare is of course annoying since it's so big in its first strike. But if I can find any spell, it doesn't really matter what it is, a spell to go with that young Pyromancer, that would be so good. And August didn't pump it, or rather he just pumped it once. And that just tells that he has something, and the only spell for 3 that I could think of that would be really good here is Stagger Shock, and I also named it. But I still think it's okay to play the Pyromancer here. Since I drew a Ponder, so I would get a token out of the deal anyway. And I was expecting a response of some kind at some point, so that's why I was playing a bit slower. And behold, Stagger Shock. But I mean, that's still fine. I mean, I get to ponder, I get to see that I have Liliana and True Name Nemesis on top. A land after that, which is unfortunate, but with Jace and Liliana that should be fine. And with August Hellbent as well, that's really good. The thing is that I didn't want to play any of my Planeswalkers this turn because of Stagger Shock, because both of them would go down to a 2 or less loyalty, and that seemed like a pretty bad way to use your resources, so I had decided to go with the True Name Nemesis this turn, since it's actually very good. And now Stagger Shock doesn't have a good target. It can kill a token, it can burn me for 2, at a pretty high life total, or send Ashok down to 1. And I actually think the latter is the best option, since now I can't play the Precinct Captain, for example, and now basically anything kills Ashok, so I think it's pretty good. It's time to level up, which I'm fine with. And in comes Mirror and Crusader, which has Pro Black, which is not good for me. Pro Green doesn't bother me, but Pro Black is kind of annoying. Sinking the last mana into the Student, which is fine. And I know that my draw will be Liliana, so it's fine. I'm gonna start off with Ashok, and well, that's a break. 2 lands of the top 4 August would probably have sealed the match, but I mean, random is random, right? So I have a ton of options here, and I'm actually gonna do the sneaky play. No, I'm not gonna do it this turn. I'm just gonna force him to sacrifice his Student and draw a card. What you can do when you have both Jace and Liliana is to make both players draw, and then play the card you draw and make both discard, which is kinda nice. But I knew I had a land on top, so I might as well draw it and play it. So now I have a pretty good squad out of 3 Planeswalkers. Dak Faden being the 4th and last I have access to, but it's in the sideboard for game 2. August draws Sword of Light and Shadow. That's not good, but it can still not get through True Name Nemesis. Sword of Fire and Ice would have been pretty bad for me. So I drew a Wasteland, and I might as well use it, because now I'm gonna plus Jace and make both discard. So even if I draw a land, it's fine. I drew I drew Black Sun Zenith, which may or may not be a good card to have, but I decided to go up with Liliana anyway. I don't think I would be playing it. And August discarded another sword, so I guess I'm happy with that. Ashok mills a couple of lands again, and I just passed the turn. I would like to attack, but I cannot attack with True Name Nemesis. That's just suicide. Land for August, that's good for me. Unfortunately it's Tech Edge, but at this point my mana base is so well developed, so it's okay. In comes Commander. All I really need is a removal spell. Any removal spell would make this game pretty hard for my opponent to win, but yeah. Since he's tapped out, I'm just gonna force both to draw and then both to discard, most likely. It's a lot better to do that when my opponent is tapped out. I'm gonna keep putting Ashok up. Lands and spot removal that doesn't do anything. Still good for my opponent. But the longer the game goes, the more likely it is that I will win on mill as well, so I'm actually hitting for 5 cards a turn, counting the draw step, so it's a pretty fast clock actually. I should probably have played my commander last turn also. Not that he can do much right now. He can chomp and he can't block at all, but there is no real reason not to play him here, I don't think. So he should probably be in play. I believe this is the turn where, for once, August had to think a lot, because all the turns now are so important for the outcome. And at the same time, a few other players started to ask questions about where the single cards were, the ones that you can buy from our store and stuff. So that's the downside of playing when it's not a tournament. But that's okay. So at long last, Kytheon wants to enter battlefield, and this I cannot allow because it's too many good beaters. And I also prefer to empty my hand when I have Liliana in play. So that's good. And still, all I want is to draw any removal spell. Anything that can kill Anax and Cymede would be so good, because then I can make him sacrifice the Mirran Crusader and still have 3 Planeswalkers and a True Name Nemesis versus an empty board. Kinda hard to lose from that spot. I don't recall really what we were discussing here, but it was probably something very interesting. And now, since August has 4 mana available, I'm just gonna draw a card myself. And I think it was 2 lands. And at this point I'm starting to get a little bit worried. Not that I'm going to lose right off the bat, but yeah, 2 lands and a Seeker, so I've milled a lot of lands, which is not good. But I've also hit a few creatures. The last one is pretty good because it can get lifelink. So since I have Urborg in play, I decided to play Scalding Tarn, since it can tap for mana, and if I really need to, I can sack it to get a land. So Liliana goes up, and now I remember to play my trusty commander. I believe I actually tapped it wrong, but it doesn't really matter. But it looks like 2 islands and an Urborg, which is only 2 of 3 colors, but mistakes were made. And there's a Council's Judgment, and that's kind of a slap in the face because I didn't think that he could remove True Name Nemesis. And now things are getting bad pretty fast, because a Mirran Crusader with a sword is a supreme threat. So it's also bad that both of his creatures dodges Umezawa's ability, and I do not want him to connect with the sword, so I have 1 turn here where I can block both and don't lose anything, but then being forced to draw something, and I only have 2 draws, so. And since I've only hit white creatures with Ashiok, I cannot pull something in to block the sword guy either, so. So we're just confirming loyalties, life totals and stuff like that, because how this attack is split up or not split up determines a lot. So Mirran Crusader goes for me, and Anax and Cymede goes for Liliana. And that's the worst line for me. And I'm trying to figure if I have to block or not, but saving Liliana is kinda key, and letting him hit twice with a sword seems pretty bad. So there's not much to be done here. I just have to sacrifice both guys, leaving me with 3 Planeswalkers versus August, 2 creatures and a sword. So, but I have the draw, So hopefully it's something good. So Jace will help me to find something as well, and he actually did, because I found a Firebolt, and Firebolt kills Anax and Cymede, and Liliana will take care of the Mirran Crusader, and now I will get Seeker of the Way into play as well, with a Firebolt ready to go. Land off the top. August finds, I believe, a Kiln Fiend, but he realizes that it will not be enough and concedes the match. So 2-0 in my favor. Thank you for watching, everyone. Welcome to the sideboard. I've just freeze framed the cards that we were lining up after the match. I wasn't really going to use this for anything, but I figured I might as well. So on my side, you can see the 4 cards I brought in the match, and on the right side you can see the cards August thought about and brought in. So I just want to start out by saying sideboarding in Tiny Leaders are freaking difficult. I mean, the 4 cards I brought in is supreme in this matchup, but I don't want to take anything out. All the cards I have in the main deck has a good use in the matchup. I boarded out Bitter Blossom, Dark Faden, what else? I don't even recall. I can't see my own cards in the video, unfortunately. But I mean, the cards I brought out were still pretty good. Twin Flame was also one of the cards I boarded out. And I boarded in Sweepers and more removal, of course. Pretty good against the creature heavy deck. But I mean, all the cards in my sideboard minus Thoughtseize would have been good in the matchup, and all the cards I boarded out would also have been decent, so excuse me. The Sweepers are pretty no-brainers in this matchup. They're so powerful that they should come in, and that brings my total sweeper count up to 4.5 basically. Missio Mortars being in the main as well. So that gives us Missio Mortars, Brimstone, Bonfire, Anger, Black Sun Zenith, and Toxic Deluge. I also upped the spot removal with the Firebolt. It's good because you can discard it to Liliana, and just having another removal lurking in the graveyard is pretty nice. And Threads of Disloyalty obviously being ridiculous. On August's side, he boarded out Unexpectedly Absent because it's just too slow and not permanent. I mean, I don't have any Voltron or stuff like that it could break up. So he didn't feel like the value was there. Stun Sniper, while being pretty good in other matchups, doesn't do anything in this. It could kill like a young Pyromancer, but it's more likely just to be swept away with a Sweeper, and with only 1 power it doesn't do anything. He also elected to remove Goblin Assault, which I'm not positive about. I think Goblin Assault is good enough, but that's also what I meant with it, that it's hard to sideboard. If we're looking at the 3 cards August brought in, it's Council's Judgment, which is probably his best card against me, since it can take True Name Nemesis and Planeswalkers and whatever. That has to come in. Spirit is also pretty good because it stops my card draw, and Pyroblast just makes way for his dudes and can counter True Name Nemesis. So all of those cards are excellent in the matchup. And he was considering Python Needle as well, which can trade for a Planeswalker, which is good. The last card I boarded out was actually Ancestral Vision because it's too slow. Yeah, on the play or just in your opener, it's good. Any other turn, it's probably too slow. So there you have our sideboard for this match. Yeah, I think that was it. Thanks for watching, and I'll try to bring you more Tiny Leaders and other things as soon as I can.
Thank you for watching. please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter at MagicGathStrat, Facebook /MagicGatheringStrat, or on the web, magicgatheringstrat.com. There you can find articles and free prize-supported leagues. This is all brought to you by our Patreons and cardhoarder.com. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/magicgatheringstrat.